But on first impression listening, I was a bit disappointed, I would say. This is definitely the weakest Kendrick Lamar project for me.
It's blooming.
Hey, is this thing on?
Introduce yourself.
Microphone check, 1, 2, what is this?
Microphone check.
Microphone check. Are we recording?
Are we recording?
Are we recording?
Are we recording?
I don't know. Were we recording? You were asking that yesterday. Are we actually going to record today?
We're here right now.
Yeah, we are here
We
right
are here
now.
right now.
All right.
We're going right now, are we?
Yeah, I mean, we're
Okay, this is live.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Are We Recording? And today, we are joined by our good friend, Christopher, also known as CB. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the Kendrick Lamar album and Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers and kind of what's been going on with our lives lately. But as always, the young Rottweiler, Ethan Hamilton. And 007 Gage Sutton, thank y'all for joining. Let's get right into it, CB. Thank you for joining the show, man.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you, man.
But, so CB, I guess let's kind of start with just like how we know each other. Obviously, you and me have been friends for a while, but we all go to Texas State. We all were part of the same organization at KTSW. Yeah.
KTSW legend.
Yep. Hey, all Hall of Famers.
All
First
of
ballot.
them.
Hall of Fame.
First ballot.
Jersey and the Raptors, man.
But yeah, I mean, so I guess CB, just tell the people a little bit about yourself and
So like Gage kind of mentioned earlier, met Gage at KTSW. He's one of the first people I ever met there, actually, which is really crazy. The radio station we worked for in San Marcos. And I was there for about a year and a half and graduated in 2021. Worked in the hip-hop department. He brought me over to the sports department. My man Ethan was also in the hip-hop department, so that's how we linked up. And yeah, man, I mean, just a lot of passion about music. Always been into music. Runs in the family. So just real passion about hip-hop as well. So that's why I'm here.
Yeah. I mean, hey, we're really happy to have you on. Obviously, I've been wanting to get you on the podcast for a minute, and now we can talk about this Kendrick Lamar album. And I'm sure there are a lot of thoughts because this is a very polarizing album. Yeah, there have been a lot of mixed opinions.
Words today.
Yeah,
using that SAT words though.
What? My being words.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I kind of just want to get y'all's initial thoughts on what you thought of the album. I know we'll probably get into all the nuances and all the topics into a deeper dive, but overall, what did y'all think of the album?
Oh, my man, start first.
I mean, I think I speak for all of us here when I say like we're all pretty big Kendrick fans.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And after 5 years waiting for him, well, four since Black Panther soundtrack.
Black Panther, yeah, 2018.
I think we've all been kind of have high expectations for this album. You know what I mean?
All of us have been. Where's that new Kendrick, man? Where's that new Kendrick?
Yeah, man.
And so to have it finally like in front of us in our phone, in the iTunes, like it's kind of surreal. You know what I mean? But I'd have to say like I don't know if I'm in the minority in this, but I really enjoy the album as even though it's probably his like most or at least digestible album, if that makes sense. From like sonically, you know what I mean? I really do enjoy this album a lot.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that this album is less accessible than To Pimp a Butterfly sonically?
See, I was going to say, sonically, I feel like a lot of people were turned off by To Pimp a Butterfly. Yeah. I feel like there are a lot of tracks on this album that people who aren't big fans of Kendrick could still visit, like the one with Kodak Black, which I want to talk about a little bit later. But yeah, I'm interested to see what you think about that.
I think in ways yes and ways no. I know I'm kind of playing both sides of the fence here, but the way I think about it is that like the jump from Good Kid to Mad City sonically was what the shock and the awe was about.
Yeah.
But since he already did
Good Kid to Tip of Butterfly sound?
Yeah, Good Kid to Tip, but like the difference in between sound was so different. I think in that respect, yeah, it was like more of a shock than to hear this type of sound on this album. But I think as far as like comparing, like stacking them all on top of each other, that's how I would say this is probably like a hard or would have less replay value than the others.
What do you think, I mean, so first impression, the initial question, it's tough, man. I feel like, we waited this 5 years. I mean, 4 if you count the Black Panther album and soundtrack. I do think that was a classic soundtrack. Like Ethan mentioned, I'm a huge Kendrick Lamar fan. I'm wearing the album cover right now, just like the man himself. But for me, during this time period, man, I mean, it's like I wasn't anticipating a Kendrick Lamar album. I really wasn't. I was good. I was content with the content that we had gotten because I felt like his catalog was immaculate. Mm-hmm. There was no misses in his entire catalog. So, and they're so, dense albums lyrically and conceptually that I didn't really feel the need for a new project from him until I heard the Hard Part 5. And then the anticipation started to grow. I love that track. I had the Marvin Gaye sample. I'm a huge Marvin Gaye fan. Recognized it instantly.
Music video was awesome too.
Music video was incredible. The deep fake and everything like that. And so in that time period of once we got the single, or I guess the Lucy single, I guess you could say, but I started to get really anticipating the album. But on first impression of listening, I was a bit disappointed, I would say. This is definitely the weakest Kendrick Lamar project for me. Really? Of all the studio albums. Even when I factor in the Black Panther soundtrack and the Entitled Unmastered, this is just not something I'm really going to return to that much, but I can go more into it as we go along.
And do you think that we'll obviously get into it, but do you think it's more because of the sonic? I guess like the listening?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because we're so recent into hearing this project. It just came out. I had 3 listening sessions with this project. The third one came on my way here today. Mm-hmm. So, bumping in the whip, Yeah. And it's funny, like, I think at moments when you turn your brain off and don't catch as much the lyrics as much, I can enjoy the sonic part of it and just like the music and the instrumentation. But for me, it really was the content. There's a lot of lyrics I wasn't really messing with. A lot of, we talk about like some controversial things on the album off camera. So some of that I wasn't really feeling. And, even when we talk about like an album like Damn, I feel like Damn was carried so much by the hits. There's so many hits on the album. There's not a single hit song on this project off of 2 discs.
Yeah.
And I think about, Kendrick's very much inspired by one of my favorite rappers, Tupac Shakur. And you think about that All Eyes on Me album, the double disc, which did a lot for hip hop and the genre. That album had hits too.
Yeah.
And you can listen to that front to back and enjoy it. And this album,
I don't get a lot of Tupac from this album.
I don't at all, no. But I think that's what he went for.
I don't think he went for Tupac.
You don't think so?
No.
I think you can, like, this is me, you hear the Kanye influence plain as day in this album. More than I think any album Kanye, and a little with We Cry Together Eminem.
Mm-hmm. That's Eminem for sure. Yeah.
The album in general, like, it sounds like Kanye. Like, it sounds like it.
Well, think about like an album like, okay, so I think...
And obviously he's influenced by him. Yeah. Like, as like all the greats are influenced by each other. Like, you know what I mean? He had his era. I think every rapper had their era with Kanye, and his was the Pablo era, the Yeezus era. He had his era with Kanye, but like, just the way he structured the album, it sounds like, oh, you got that, the arrangement. Yeah. You got that from Kanye. Like, which I'm not mad about. Like, I'm not mad about it at all, but I'm like, it's weird, like, how... I don't think he's ever been as, like, direct with the influence as he has been on this album.
That's fair.
Well, my point was that I think as a concept of doing that double disc, it reminded me so much of All Eyes on Me. But I think content-wise, it's more similar to, like, Me Against the World. Yeah. More personal, more intimate. Mm-hmm. So I do think that influence comes from there. But what about you, man? First impressions?
I mean, the first thing, like you just said, is the personal side of it. I think Kendrick really... This is the most personal album that Kendrick has released. Really getting into all the things that he was going through during the pandemic and since the last time he's dropped a full-length studio album. So, initially I wasn't huge on it. I gotta admit, like, the first listen through, I was like, I hear what you're saying and I really like it, but it's not for me right now. But then I listened to it again. I had to give it a couple listens. And that's the thing about doing reviews sometimes, and especially so soon after the album comes, is like we don't give it enough time to breathe. We don't give it enough time to let it sit with us and think about it more. But as I've listened to it more, I definitely enjoy this album. I think there are a lot of good messages. We'll talk about some of the stuff that was a little more controversial, but overall, I'm not disappointed. I think it was good for what it was, his last TDE album, and I'm just excited to see what the future holds for him. I feel like he's finally found himself as an artist and kind of got rid of that whole savior complex too, which we'll talk about. And I think this will kind of just influence him to keep making good music, and that's all it boils down to for him.
You did mention it being the last album on the TDE contract.
Yep.
And I did wonder, especially for me, you're not really hidden from me like that. Was he just, hey, let me give you this so I can get out of the contract?
I'm not sure, because I feel like this album was like conceptual. Like he did put a lot of effort into it. I can tell.
So I wouldn't consider it like a throwaway, like a last album on a contract thing.
Yeah, this wasn't like a Frank Ocean like endless kind of situation, but
I do find it so interesting. His last album on TDE, and nobody on TDE is on the album.
Nope.
That is interesting to me.
No.
That tells me like a thing. That tells me one thing, especially because the viewers know like I'm really into these like rap conspiracy theories. Like I'm so much into the architect.
Oh, you should have heard what he was saying on the prediction video. Which, by the way, go watch it if you haven't already. I mean, you're talking about the Drake beef and how how Kendrick and Drake have been having a cold war all of these years.
Which I agree with.
Yeah.
See,
I think that's facts, bro. There's so many, especially on Damn.
I
feel like Damn, that's a whole subtle diss. Like I gotta slap it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A whole track feels like it's a diss. But go ahead.
I just like it's your last album on the label, and nobody from the label is on the album. And it's the first time this happened since your first ever project with them. That don't sound right to me. Like that sounds to me like he hasn't got along with them for quite some time.
Yeah.
Or he hasn't been on the same page as them for quite some time.
So let me ask y'all, were y'all surprised? Obviously not seeing Black Hippie or any of the TDE crew on the album. Is that kind of surprising to y'all? Do y'all, were you expecting to see someone else on the feature list? Because there's one name that I didn't see on the track list and I was like, what? He didn't bring him on? He's on everyone's album, and that's Lil Baby, man. I'm just saying, I don't know if Kendrick wants to smoke with Lil Baby, because Lil Baby went on J.Cole's album, bodied him. Yeah. Went on Drake's album, bodied him.
Hold on, wait. Lil Baby bodying J. Cole on his track?
Pride is the Devil, yes.
Pride is the Devil?
Yeah, he did.
I don't remember liking that track at all.
I like that track. That might be one of my favorite song off the album. That and 95 South.
Hey. I mean, we'll talk about all the comparisons, but I'm just saying, Kendrick, why are you ducking smoke, man? Lil Baby has been... I don't know. I'm kidding. But
I do think Baby did watch Drake on, was it Wants and Needs?
Yeah. But I think the thing with Wants and Needs, it was Drake threw him a lob. Like, he did body him, but it's a body on purpose. You know what I mean? He threw him a lob.
Yeah. So I will say this, though.
Like, you listen to Drake, the way Drake came on the first flow, the first part of the song, the way he flowed, and he was like, he was throwing a lob to him. Yeah. I get what you mean. That was definitely a body.
But Kendrick did kind of get washed a few times on this project, bro.
Where do you think so? I guess give me one of the features that you think.
I think
because I do have one in mind.
I think wash is kind of strong of a word, but I do think there's moments when the features shine through more than him. I think on Purple Hearts, I think Summer Walker, I wish he would have just took the hook, because I don't want to hear Kendrick doing that hook. Even, I think it was Ghostface Killer.
Oh, yeah.
Was on there. I think he delivered more than he did. I think even Baby King. Because a lot of this album feels influenced by Baby King.
Oh, yeah. I know a lot of people they don't really like that, which I don't. For me, I love it. Yeah. I'm a Baby King stan. That's been shown on this podcast, and I really like his influence on it. You said Summer Walker. Then again goes into my conspiracy. Why is it SZA? You had a choice between SZA
and Summer Walker.
You could have knocked on your next door and asked SZA.
And you did.
Not saying that the skill level between Summer Walker and SZA is like different, because a lot of people might prefer Summer Walker to SZA, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But you had SZA in your back pocket.
Yeah, that's
ready, and you could have.
Yeah.
I don't know, just something to think about. You know what I mean?
Think about it this way. It was We Cry Together. You mentioned why do R&B singers don't feature on the albums, which was kind of weird, because I think about Summer Walker. She had a bunch of R&B singers on her album. She had Ari Lennox, she had SZA.
That is the first thing that came to mind when I was hearing that song, and when I heard that bar, I was like,
but that's been like a critique about
that song, female, especially. I mean,
not about that song, but about like female R&B in general for the longest time, is that they don't necessarily support each other, which I don't agree to a certain extent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, we'll get into it a little bit more, but one of the other features that I was surprised to see. First off, shout out Sampha, because
oh my
god, when I saw his name on the track list, I was like, finally,
absolutely.
We haven't heard from him in years.
If y'all have not heard his album,
go listen to it. It's amazing.
That makes me want to Sampha album even.
Absolutely, absolutely. I smile every time I hear his hook.
I know.
On that Father Time.
That is a great track. I think that's my favorite song on the album.
That's not a bad take.
Yeah,
not a bad take. It's definitely in my top 3.
Yeah,
it's definitely in my top 3.
But the other feature that I and a lot of people on the Twitterverse were pretty, I guess, upset about was the Kodak Black feature. And I think when you take into consideration, his past and stuff like that, that's what people were upset about. Is like
less that than the actual.
Yeah, than the actual feature.
I thought you murdered.
Yeah, I thought Kodak was great on the albums, but
he was alright.
I mean, yeah. Okay, yeah, you're right. I'm being a little.
I'm a Kodak fan. Like I argue with my buddy Jason all the time. Give me Kodak over YB any single day of the week. Give me Kodak from a musical standpoint. But I get why people have that critique of that being on the album. I'm just glad. I just don't understand like more from like not an organizational, but like a media standpoint. How Kendrick Lamar is getting these high grades for these albums, but a lot of these people are the same people that held Kanye to the fire for having Marilyn Manson on his album.
Okay,
and they didn't held Kendrick to the same standard with Kodak.
I mean, but I feel like kind of the message or what I received from listening to this Kendrick album was that he mentioned cancel culture a lot, and a lot of the growth that comes with aging and becoming a star, and also growing up and having all the very many similarities with a lot of the rappers who kind of portray like the guns and the drugs and all that stuff, because that's stuff that they grew up with. So like you can grow up from it. I think the whole lesson behind it was like you can move on from your past, and that's kind of why I feel like he brought Kodak on. And it may not be the perfect example, and it may not be the best way to do it, but I kind of sympathize with it. Of like,
so why don't you sympathize with Kanye when he put him on? The whole theme of jail is that exact thing. Is not like, you know what I mean? I'm not saying you, but I'm just saying like, you know what I mean? Like for the pitchforks, for the complex, they didn't hold, because if Kanye brought Kodak on an album, we already know what they're gonna say.
Yeah. I want to speak on that a little bit, because I mean, even when it comes to the Kodak Black thing, I feel like the biggest issue is the fact that he goes so deep into generational trauma, and at the same time you have this abuser as a past on the project fairly prominently on multiple tracks. And if you think about like there being,
he narrates the whole album.
Yeah, there's being like his partner Whitney, the therapist for his name, and then Kodak. Those are kind of like the narrative characters in the album, similar to like A Good Kid, where you had like Shireen or his dad, his mom. So, and to speak on to what you said about, I do think even when this album, like I don't think the quality's there as much, and I feel like Kendrick's getting a pass for this. I think when you put out such an immaculate catalog and you have one that's kind of polarizing, people are giving him a pass.
I hate a pass that a lot of rappers
don't get.
Kanye doesn't get that pass. Kanye doesn't get that pass. Drake doesn't get that pass.
I mean,
but does Drake deserve that pass, bro?
but that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't think Drake?
Hold on. He didn't get that pass when If You're Reading This Is Too Late came out. That's what I mean. I'm saying If You're Reading This Is Too Late got killed when it came out.
I love that album.
I don't know how true that is.
I remember, it got killed.
I think it got heat because of the Quentin Miller ghostwriter room.
Yeah.
I think that was the main reason why. I think the flows were different because of that, but then over time, people saw it as like, okay, Drake's actually rapping on this album. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's one of my favorite Drake albums, by the way. But I see where you're coming from, E, because I think that kind of just goes to show like where Kendrick is and how respected he is. And
he's a boogeyman.
Yeah,
that's who he is. For better or for worse, he is the boogeyman.
I feel, the problem with Kendrick though is that he's so willing to call, like, when I come home, killing everybody that's outside, smoking on their top 5. But when people challenge him, he runs and hides.
Kind of just stays back.
We have not seen him in the ring with anyone, and the only person he feels so cavalier of talking about is Drake. someone who we know he's not in the same weight classes. Kendrick could easily lyrical, spiritual body.
My whole thing is we don't know.
Not in sales though.
Because
that's a different story.
That's not about. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Beef is not about sales.
It shouldn't be.
And we saw that with Pusha T and Drake.
My whole thing with beef is Pusha T. It's how disrespectful can you get?
Exactly.
You are hiding a child. Let that boy come home.
We don't know how disrespectful. Like I said, like we don't know how disrespectful Kendrick wants to go. We've seen how disrespectful Drake will go.
Yeah.
And that's what decides beefs. Like, of course, lyrical ability and song making ability, like back to back, yes. Like, and all these songs, hit 'em up, yes. But it's really the disrespect of what people remembers.
I mean, even you mentioned hit 'em up. I mean, I think the first line in that track is the only thing people remember. Because half the track is just him and his homies just rapping.
Yeah.
Not even just Pac. But yeah, man.
That's why I fucked your bitch, you fat motherfucker. Oh no, but I mean, okay, I think we can kind of move on to just other tracks that stood out to y'all.
I guess we can go to tracks that stood out to us.
I mean,
so CB, let's start with you, man. Is there one track that you want to talk about specifically that kind of stood out to you, or content matter, feature, or something?
I mean, as far as like the tracks I enjoyed the most, I think Die Hard was it sounds kind of like the single.
I love Blast, bro.
Yeah, me too.
Gage knows that I've been playing Blast for about a year and a half now, and I was
put me onto him.
I was so surprised to see him on the album, and I was so happy. Like
he killed it with that chorus, man.
I mean, and that's one of those moments where I feel like the two features kind of outshine Kendrick. You know,
honestly, that's not a bad take because, man, I'm telling you, when that chorus hits,
absolutely, yeah, and it samples
that's it. Like that's
Digital Underground, a Digital Underground chorus. So rest in peace to Shock G. But yeah.
That's not a Blast. I'm glad that you kind of stole my answer with that. I was gonna say Blast. I guess I gotta do, for mine at least, Baby Keem's Interlude.
Hey,
I did think he bodied that. Yeah,
like,
he did body that. Yeah.
Did you pull up the lyrics by chance? Like while we're talking about this, the lyric he had when he was talking about him going on tour. It was so reminiscent of Scapegoats on his own album on Mr. On the Melodic Blue. Like, it was so reminiscent of that.
You might need my man because I don't got the watch.
Hold on, I'll put it up for you. But you ever see your mama strung out while you're doing Division?
Yeah, man.
That shit is.
Yeah.
he was going crazy, dog. Like, let me find the exact verse. Like that, what it was. It was just like I was like, bro, this was nuts. Like,
I love that he's working with Baby Keem. I think Baby Keem brings a different energy out of Kendrick that we haven't seen. And I mean, we even heard I forgot what track it was on, but we hear Kendrick do the brother thing a couple of times. And I mean, I like it. He's trying something different. And I like what Baby Keem brings out of Kendrick. So
my problem is that I don't think it's always the best executed on this project.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's like, I think he feels like he's got the Infinity Stone. I can just try anything, it's gonna hit, but it's not really. Some of these hooks, some of these cadences, I think he should leave to his cousin.
Yeah,
honestly. But I want to talk about We Cry Together though.
Oh,
because that was, to me, that's the best track on the album.
So, I think. Maybe not from a re-listen to standpoint because, bro, the thing for me is that sounds very real. Like, can we talk about...
real quick, this is the bar I was talking about from Xavier. This year I did 43 shows and took it all home to buy him a casket. I was like, dog, come on. Like, I guess I feel like a little bit of the opposite way of how you feel like Keem's influence. Like, I feel like every single time Kendrick did it, he executed it for me, and it was something different from him. And I love, like, our buddy Jason always gets mad at us because he's like, "Oh, you guys just like just because something's different on an album, you guys just like it." And I'm like, "No, but like you gotta appreciate it. Like, there's so much oversaturation in music right now, especially like for the big dogs. Sometimes they get lazy. Like, all the big dogs get lazy to a certain respect. So I respect Kendrick in the fact that he's like, all right, I'm gonna go in this baby voice kind of lane for a couple of these tracks and." I'm just gonna do it, which I thought he did execute a lot better on here than he did on Keem's album.
Yeah, and we will talk about We Cry Together because I definitely want to touch on that track. But to kind of add on to that, that has been a big criticism of these top artists in Drake and Kanye. I mean, we saw, I don't know if y'all saw this, but on Denzel Curry called out Kanye West
Yeah, he
and
did,
Drake,
yeah.
and was saying like, y'all have all of this money, all of these resources, and y'all put out mid albums. Like, I mean, hey, by the way, Denzel Curry's album, go check it out.
Incredible.
Great album.
Incredible.
Fantastic.
I mean, it's not crazy to. Is it crazy to say that he might still have album of the year even after Kendrick's drop?
He won't.
Him and Push, the top ones right now.
Pusha T.
Those are my top two.
Both are in my top 5.
Yeah,
So
I think so too.
I can't hate it.
Okay, but now let's talk about We Cry Together. So, damn, bro. I mean,
The Alchemist beat, though.
I'm sorry.
Because as soon as you hear it, you think in your head, the butcher coming, you know? As soon as I heard, I was like, is Benny better hop on this?
But I mean, God, it just felt so real. I mean, I got to shout out Taylor Page too, because I mean, she
another moment when I feel like the feature outshine Kendrick.
You could just hear the anger and
I PTSD for that song.
Well, bro, I mean, but I feel like that also shows like what Kendrick has been going through, and he talks about like how.
I guess I feel like we keep jumping around because we just so also.
But We Cry Together. I want to get y'all's thoughts on it. Yeah.
Like I said, it's the Alchemist beat is gas.
It sounds just like Kim.
Yeah.
By Eminem.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You can tell the influence from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a dope song, man. Ain't nothing more I can really.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it just reminded me like the Poetic Justices, the Baby Boys, all those movies that we're so accustomed to. It just felt like I'm watching a scene out of that. But Taylor Page is incredible. Honestly, man, is it wild to say she might need a rap?
I'm not mad at that.
I think
give it a shot.
I want to see her get in the studio with Alchemist and start putting something together. Even if she got ghostwriters, I'm cool with that too.
Hey, sometimes you need a ghostwriter, Drake, but it's okay. But the point is, bro, I think the stuff that they were saying to each other, the content matter of what they were saying to each other, and that's where like I guess a lot of the controversy comes from. This song is like how much of those ideas are rooted in Kendrick's real life belief. You know what I mean? Like what he talks about, like the fake feminist. Like, is that something that Kendrick really like believes, you think? Or is that like he's kind of using that as like who's that watching? Was it Sean C? I think Sean C said it really well. He said it's like a straw man argument where like he was just using it to kind of make his point.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the whole point of the song too, is that like you hear all the hurtful stuff they're saying.
Exactly.
And you kind of have that like thinking like of a third person point of view is like, bro, he don't mean half the. Neither one of them mean half the stuff they're actually saying, but they're saying it so that. Because we've all been in that situation. You say stuff you're not supposed to say, or you say stuff that later
you might regret
in an argument because you're saying it to hurt the person.
Because you're emotional. Yeah.
And I think that's the one of the biggest points of the song is that like he's really trying to see, like he's holding a mirror to ourselves in that respect. No pun intended. To the outro song is that like look at us. This is what we do.
Yeah.
We do this to ourselves. We don't have to. You know what I mean?
I think within the context of that song, it allows him to talk about things that might be a little bit more controversial because it's coming from an emotional standpoint. And I think that is where it's better executed versus other songs. It's almost, he leaves things ambiguous, or it almost sounds like he'll talk about very troubling things, very important things.
Like he doesn't have a firm stance on it, right?
Exactly. And it leads to, and sometimes you can leave things ambiguous for it to be interpreted by the listener. But some of these topics, I think they're so important that you kind of need to have a stance and be more. Because I mean, even what's the Family Ties where I can shake my ass and take it to class like Megan. Like I can have a fun track that you can listen to it, but also I'm gonna educate you. I don't feel like he did as much educating.
And I think that goes into the song Savior. Like he's saying, he's like,
great transition.
I think he retires his claim as rap savior, and in all respect, he's like. Yeah, if we talking about rap savior, like his bars and his like best rapper alive, sure, I don't mind taking that mantle. I'll take it gladly. But if you were asking me to be a revolutionary and to be a leader in that respect, and I can't do that for y'all.
And also as fans, I think he was also saying, don't look at me like I'm a perfect person, like I'm a perfect individual just because I rap and I put out all these great albums. I'm human, just like you guys. I go through a lot of the struggles that a lot of other black men in this country face,
and I have a lot of opinions that may not match with what you think I'll have because I've been gone for 5 years and so much stuff has happened in 5 years that like where do you think I am on certain stances or certain
certain issues, certain topics.
Certain issues. I'm not gonna be on that.
Shit, I mean, he mentioned Kyrie Irving and the vaccine.
Yeah.
I mean,
there is a lot of vaccine talk in this album,
yeah.
which I'm kind of.
You
can say that for me.
I'm with you.
But my thing on Xavier, I think that this song encompasses a lot of the problems that I have with this album. To me, at times it feels like a cop-out, and at times it feels just so condescending. Like, even you think about a song like Mirrors, like, I chose me, I'm sorry. Sorry I couldn't save the world, my friend. I'm too busy building mine again. And I feel like it's one of those things where, like, oh, LeBron, you gave him your flowers, but he's not your savior.
Well,
let me
sorry, go ahead.
My point is, like, as a listener, we're talking about the Kendrick fans. We be listening to these dense, complex albums. We some of the more political, conscious people in the hip-hop genre. I'm not looking at you to save me, bro. I'm looking at you to use your platform for justice. The same issues and topics you profit off of, be about that off the mic. That's it. No one's looking at you to save us, bro. Yeah. And that was kind of my problems, like this very condescending, even like a line, I was like, Tupac's dead, you got to think for yourself. Fam, you don't think we thinking for ourselves out here, bro?
I think,
especially at this point of your catalog, I mean, you telling us this now?
I don't think that necessarily applies to like you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like for you, he might not be talking to you with that song, but let's keep it above.
There are a lot of people out there who look at Kendrick like
he's gonna give me my opinions, and I'm just gonna follow what he says because I believe in him. And if your argument to that is like, well, don't talk to them, or you know what I mean, like they aren't your actual audience, then I understand that. Like, why are you talking to the people that, like those type of people talk to us? Like, of course we know you're not our savior. You know what I mean? And if that's your, then I can't disagree with you on that.
But I think it's like it's just a worldwide problem because it's not just people in the hip hop community or people who listen to Kendrick Lamar who, you know, aren't educated enough to be like, oh, well, he's not my savior. I'm going to live my own life regardless of whether he's making music or doing shit or not. But there's like a overemphasis on becoming infatuated with these celebrities and thinking that they're gods, and it's like, no, be your own person. Like don't derive all of your ideas and opinions off of these people who are people.
And who like I was saying earlier, like there's a lot of your favorite rappers. I hate to break it to you, not all of them are going to be Democrats. Not all of them are going to have that thinking. A lot of them they like their taxes, you know what I mean? Like in that type of mindset.
Jay-Z of the world.
A lot of them are like this, and he keeps trying to tell you, like, I think that's where I see the Kanye influences. Like, we're not all thinking like y'all, and y'all need to get over seeing us as idols.
So I kind of want to go back to the Savior bar because CB, you said the LeBron bar, right? Mm-hmm. Did y'all notice that when I was first listening to the album, the night it came out? Did y'all see that lyric? This was the one that was in place of the LeBron one.
I don't remember that one, to be honest.
So it wasn't in the actual music, but this showed up in the lyrics. I wonder if this was one of the original lyrics. And let me read it out. It says, Ye said to speak loud, but he is not your savior. He didn't mention Kanye in the actual... When you listen to the song, he doesn't mention Kanye. But it's just interesting that it showed up in the lyrics for the Apple Music. So maybe he took it out.
I'm going to have to go back and listen. But I do want to respond to some of the points y'all made, though. Because for me, I hear what y'all saying, but to me, it just feels like the ultimate gaslight. And it feels like just such a cop-out. Like, because I do feel like Kendrick knows that his fans aren't looking at him in that capacity. I do feel that way. I do feel like it's this thing of like when people we talk about a lot of the cancel culture stuff. I think when fans come from an educated perspective and have a criticism, they take it as like, oh, I can't say anything. Oh, I can't talk. I can't rap anymore. Oh, I'm not your savior. Stop looking at me. Fam, that's not the like you mentioned, or we like talk about No Name. I feel like he alludes to No Name, the rapper on this album. Took some time to get back to her, obviously. But it didn't come from a nuanced perspective at this point. It was still the same like, oh, I'm sorry I'm not your savior. I chose me. And you mentioned even like, you know, some of your rappers, some of your favorite artists, some of your favorite rappers, they might not be on the same page as you. And I think that's when that cancel culture perspective comes in of like, yeah, and we don't have to buy your album. But then the rappers and the artists and celebrities respond with, oh, I can't say anything. I can't be honest. I can't be me. We don't have to support you if you have some janky opinions.
Okay. I'm totally with that. Like, like I said, I'm of the mindset, like, I guess we're all in like the freedom of speech sort of aspect. You are free to say and think whatever you are. You are not free to live without consequences.
Exactly. That's my whole point. And I think we don't hear that. That's not on the album. That is not in the lyrics in this album. It is. Leave me alone. I can say whatever I want.
So you think if he would have said like, yeah, I'm gonna have all these, wouldn't that be more condescending though? To say like, yeah, I'm not gonna agree with any of your opinions, but you guys might not buy my album, so fuck y'all, or you know what I mean?
I mean, I can't please everybody. That's one. But I think if you can apply the knowledge of like, hey, cancel culture is not a real thing. People are trying to. It's the age of accountability. It's the age of people holding people responsible. If you would have spoke from that perspective, I think that's a take that is contrary to the surface level opinions we hear. But I think a lot of the takes he has on this album are just very surface level things across the board. And some people, if it resonates with you, you might think it's deep. But I mean, we're talking about cancel culture and celebrity culture versus what we heard on Good Kid versus what we heard on To Pimp a Butterfly.
But that's why I get this. My whole thing was that's why I said the cancel culture and the celebrity culture. I'm so sick and tired of hearing people talk. I have no problem with. I think nobody likes cancel culture. Mm-hmm. Nobody. We all understand the problems of it. But I think that's where like you could see that he's been in a bubble for 5 years. Is that like dog?
Exactly.
We're tired of hearing people talk. We get cancel culture as an issue. It goes to comedians and stuff. We're tired of
like this album's a little late almost.
It's very late. Talking about COVID and even not even speaking from a different or unique perspective. It's just like, take off the mask.
I'm with you on that. I really agree with you on that. Like I'm just tired of hearing of culture, cancel culture bars, and I came into this album knowing I was gonna hear a vaccine line, knowing I was gonna hear a COVID a cancel culture line because he's been gone for 5 years, dog.
And the game needs him because he's the vaccine.
Yeah,
like
I hate that line so much. But again, that celebrity perspective, again, I hear the Kanye influence in that subject matter, like it's.
What do you think about what he was saying about Kanye? Because he's been talking about Kanye this whole time.
I've never seen him do it so blatantly on an album.
Yeah, I mean,
and we talk a lot about how like maybe Kanye might be outdated. And it's like, bro, look at him.
He has the "Everything I Am" line, like about his father.
Yeah, but I was like, the first time I heard that, I was like, wow, he talking about graduation. Mm-hmm. Like,
that's true. It reminded me of Good Kid. He talks about I think it is off the Good Kid, Mad City track or the Mad City track, where he's like. Projects tore up, gang signs were thrown up.
Yeah,
so he's done that before.
That's what MC8, right? At the very that last bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to kind of circle back to the Kanye thing, I don't see the Kanye influence as much as you do, Ethan. But
same, to be honest, bro.
I think he definitely addresses a lot of the things. I mean, he mentioned Kanye and Drake on Father Time when he's talking about how he was kind of surprised that Kanye forgave Drake, which also I'm not sure it was that way. Wasn't it the other way around? Am I wrong?
Was it mutual?
I don't know how it was.
But the way I took it was like, I don't know how you could forgive that nigga for doing that shit. But hey,
like it's Kanye changed.
That's not me.
He's still old school.
That's again. I think it's a sequel to that bar. It's like you know what I mean? Like it's the way I took it. I guess I think of it as like rapper beef in my head. It's like, oh, you forgave him for doing that. I would never. Hey,
you live your life,
but
bro.
You do how. That's why I hear that bar in my head.
It's
like, oh, you forgave Drake for that. I could never do that.
That's a fair.
That's exactly
how it is. To be honest,
that's how I read that line. Was like, oh, he taking a shot. Like I could never give it.
So that's how you saw it too, CB?
I agree. 100%. I mean, this is me and him on the same page with the Drake Kendrick beef.
They don't like each other.
Absolutely. They do not like each other at all.
But
they're two different, like so different artists. Like I don't know why people are always pitting them against each other. I mean, I know why. I know why. But I'm just saying.
Top of the morning.
Hey, and that's another thing is like if you're not a Kendrick fan and you're gonna criticize him for the top of the morning stuff, get out of here, man. Come on. How are we gonna like basically like disrespect him and say like, oh, he's whack now and
like,
like, oh yeah, okay, hey, I actually
that song was gas. I don't know.
I know that's what I'm saying, bro. I'm throwing people off the bridge with that song.
I didn't want to speak on your point though about the Kendrick thing. Just the Drake Kendrick just one last time.
Yeah, we mentioned every podcast.
It is. I was on another one. But because you think about like Kendrick was on tour with Drake to start his career, and he even had the Buried Alive freestyle on the Take Care album.
Drake was on Poetic Justice.
Poetic Justice. But you think about how, Drake was that guy for a while. And in many ways, and to shoot Kendrick some bail a little bit, I do feel like he was propped up as hip-hop savior. Once you got that Good Kid, Mad City following a Take Care in those projects, there was a shift. And I do feel like it shifted Drake's career too.
Hey, it's a Pimp a Butterfly shift.
And there were a lot of people in hip hop who also were saying that Kendrick is the savior.
They did say that. Yeah.
I mean, I know this is a long time ago, but
that was a minute ago. That's the thing.
When one of the rappers that I remember, and you guys might laugh at me because this is a while back, but I'm scared. This is y'all remember Hopsin?
I do remember Hopsin.
Hopsin had a bar about how Kendrick Lamar is like the king of hip hop now, and then he said something about his height. It was lame, but that's what I'm saying. Like, this has been a long journey. Like, since Good Kid, Mad City came out, people were talking about Kendrick as the GOAT, the next king of hip hop. And did he really want all of those expectations thrown on him? All of that pressure, I guess.
But that goes to the celebrity theme of it is I think 50 Cent was talking about this in an interview when they were asking him about the Kendrick album. He's like, bro, y'all don't understand it because you're in the media. When you are one of the greatest rappers as myself, you see what he's doing. So whenever he plays dumb, and he's like, oh, I never saw the success coming. He said he jokes with Kendrick all the time. It's like, no, motherfucker, you worked hard as hell. Yeah. You worked hard to get this stuff. Don't act humble. Mm-hmm. You wanted this. No pun intended. No, be humble. You wanted all this. This is what you strive to get. That's so now lie in the bed of what you made. That's fair. This is what you did.
Agree.
That's fair.
And and you made a great point. That's kind of my rebuttal to that a little bit, because he even says an album, "Heavy is the head that wears the crown."
Yep.
So it comes with the territory. This is competitive hip hop.
Yeah.
This is a sport. So, and you can't release a whole album dissing Drake and then be mad that people see you as the hip hop savior. What are we talking about?
Who's left?
Who's left, bro?
Hey,
Freddie Gibbs
is left, but
not much.
Freddie Gibbs needs. I don't know. Not much. I'm a huge Freddie Gibbs fan. Just for the record.
We're gonna talk about this later.
He needs to take care of himself, though. He needs to
go security.
Hire some security.
Do something, bro. He's getting his ass whooped.
I don't even know what happened.
I love Freddie Gibbs, brother. One of my favorite rappers.
I love Gibbs.
Yeah.
We'll save it for that. But
and Kendrick ducked the Freddie smoke too.
Yep. That's kind of what I was alluding to.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Freddie stepped out the window.
He went outside, and he said, "I'm killing everybody outside." He was outside right now. He's an active hip hop.
My whole thing with when rappers do that, because Drake is the king. He did it with Joe Budden. He pump it up, pump it up. He did all that, and then when Joe responded, he was like, he ignored him. He did the "You're not as big as me." I have no problem with Kendrick doing that with Freddie. Okay, then hold on. Who is as big as you? There's 3 other names: Cole, Drake, and Ye. Pick one, and let's go. That's how I think of it. Pick one. If he's not as big as you, all right, go jump out the window. Go get one of them 3. I have no problem. You don't want Freddie? Cool. Go pick. You gotta pick somebody.
But okay, the problem with that is the fact that Kendrick still wants to be considered with the greats when it comes to lyrical hip hop, and Freddie Gibbs is one of those lyrical, competent hip hop artists, and his catalog is getting crazy.
But I'm talking about as a mainstream artist. Kendrick is never gonna talk to Freddie Gibbs. He really won't unless Freddie Gibbs gets personal. And Freddie Gibbs didn't get personal.
Isn't that the problem though? The problem is that he's not.
But what I'm saying is that's how every one of these rapper greats did it. All of them, they all went out the ledge. Yeah, they ignored the little guy, but they always went out the ledge for somebody. Mm-hmm. Somebody who they believed was on the same commercially, on the same tier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Kendrick, he's like, okay, you don't want Gibbs, cool. There's 3 other names. Pick one and go.
But Drake is low-hanging fruit. He's not even really beefing with Cole. And I don't think he's really beefing with Ye either. He's picking the weakest link. Because he's got the biggest platform.
I'd rather him pick one than none. To ignore Gibbs. You can't ignore Gibbs and then ignore everybody.
Well, so I guess this kind of leads to the question of how important do you guys think a rap beef is to a rapper's legacy? Do we still... Essential. So
rap beef is essential.
You don't think Kendrick can be the #1 hip hop artist of all time without having a rap beef like that?
I mean, who the we talk about Pac, we talk about Big, we talk about Nas, talk about Jay. All of them have been in beef.
What holds me back from 3 Stacks is that
I was about to say 3 Stacks.
If we take that away, 3 Stacks is in my top 2. Is him and Ye for me. For me, that's how I have it. But that's how I feel with 3 Stacks is I always wish he went out the ledge for somebody.
Yeah.
he always went out the ledge for somebody, and that's how I feel with Kendrick. I think it's when it's I don't see him ever going out the ledge.
I don't think so either. That's not who he is.
It's too late now.
It's too late. It's too late.
I feel like that's not who he is.
This album was as far it was the late it was the end of the checkpoint. You can't go past this no more.
I mean, the Heart Part 4 was a whole diss.
It was a whole diss.
It was a whole diss.
It was a whole diss to Drake.
It was sneak diss, but I mean, like,
even still, like,
yeah.
I don't know. So, you guys have any closing thoughts about the album? I know we didn't go into every single track, but I mean,
I feel like we covered a good chunk of it, and in a broad kind of sense. But if you guys want to see CB on the channel more, comment and leave a like, tweet, all that stuff, and we can talk more about this. I think we're having some really good conversations about this album and hip hop in general. So if you guys are interested in more album reviews, I think we can start making this.
I think before the show started, I wanted your guys' opinions on Mother I Sober. I wanted your opinions
Absolutely.
on that. I think for me, a lot of some parts of the album, I could hear him being like 5 years too old. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I can hear the age in some of his lyrics. But Mother I Sober, I think that the second or the last verse, I thought he left this earth. I think that was one of his best verses ever.
I think it's incredible. I think it's I think the problem is it's not like a replay value kind of track. Even we talk about we cry together. I think that track has more. I can listen to that more than I can listen to this. Mm-hmm. But as far as like an art piece, incredible.
I think it stands up with "Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst."
Oh yeah, that's the first thing I thought of.
I think it stands up with you, even though I don't like you that much. Mm-hmm. I think this stands up with those three as like his art, like his exposés, sort of like these are his like magnum opus as like a song.
I agree. Yeah.
This stands up with them.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the big criticisms. Well, again, I was listening to this the night it came out, right after I graduated too.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
I appreciate it, but to my discredit, because I listened to the first half of the album pretty thoroughly, and then the second half of the album kind of came around, and I wasn't listening to it as intently, and I knew that I would have to go back and listen to it. And Mother I Sober was one that I listened to, and it was just really slow. It wasn't something that I was like, oh, this is going to be something I bump in the whip. But after I listened to it again, I 100% agree with you guys. I think this is...
Bumping the therapy session?
Yeah. Bumping in the therapy session, man. But, yeah, I mean...
Some of the lyricism on this track is incredible. Like, I wrote this down, like, my mother's mother followed me for years in the afterlife, staring at me and some of the back of the buses. I wake up at night, loved her dearly, traded my tears for a Range Rover transformation. You ain't felt grief till you felt it sober.
Bro, like, he left Earth, dog, with that.
I was getting goosebumps off of that.
My whole thing, bro, that's how I feel like whenever I don't know the exact technical term, but you hear the crescendo in the back.
Oh,
The last verse, it goes. I like at certain, like the first listen, I had to restart and I'm like, bro, I'm missing, like I feel the feeling, but I can't like resonate too much with the lyric. Like I have to go back. So I remember I restarted like 2 or 3 times to get to the build of that song. Whenever I was finally able to finish that song, I was like, bro, he's bad.
Absolutely.
Like, that song is
yes, I agree. I think, man, that bar of you ain't felt grief till you felt it sober.
Yeah, you hear it repeat throughout this track too. Yep. I do want to talk about Mr. Morale, because that one was Pharrell production. And I thought that was one of the more underrated tracks on the album.
I hear that.
And it kind of goes with Mother I Sober when it talks about R. Kelly and some of like the trauma and the abuse and the generational abuse. But that one was slapping to me.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't disagree. I thought Tana Leone, I was the only person that got the prediction of a feature artist on the album. He killed it.
Yeah.
He killed it.
Hey, I guess one more little thing of the nuances I really liked. I like the tap dance, or like the tap dancing that you hear in the back. I think it kind of adds that element of like conceptualization of him like performing to the album, right?
I agree.
But yeah, I mean, overall,
CB, like, correct me if I'm wrong. From what I'm noticing, like the pattern of your opinions of these songs, it seems like you really like the second half a lot more than the first half.
I mean,
correct me if I'm wrong, but that's like the theme I'm getting.
It's tough. I think the first half is a lot easier to listen to the ear. I mean, this is the thing, man. Like N95 beat is incredible.
I like the
beat goes hard.
I hear that.
I love the first track. I love United in Grief. That's one of my favorite tracks on the album.
Really, I think that's his weakest intro out of all his.
Really?
Wow. Out of the albums, yes. But as this single track, I do like it.
And that's compared because I really didn't like. What was the intro track on Good Kid?
The Shireen one.
What?
I don't like Shireen.
You know what?
It's Master Splinter, right?
Yeah,
Master Splinter.
Yeah.
But
I love that song.
I love that song too.
The way I have Kendrick intros, it goes Wesley's Theory.
Yeah, it's crazy.
This last one on Damn, what was it called?
Blood.
It reminds me so much of like an old school western.
I was taking a walk the
other day, and the way it rides, I'm like, oh, it just rides. So that's why I love that song so much. And then Shireen, aka Master Splinter, his daughter, and then this one is probably the worst one for me.
But bro, this is
it's not when I say worst one, I hope the listeners and the viewers aren't thinking like, oh, it's a bad song. No, but I'm only comparing it against like his other intros. So when I say worst, I mean that.
This is the thing, man. I'm judging this album for what it is because I can't compare it to the other ones. Because the other ones to me are just so much better.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why from the jump, like I like his catalog until this. This is just kind of it's alright for me. But I do like. Compared to the other songs in the album, United in Grief is one of my favorites, though. So, I mean, I feel like it's a balance of, like you mentioned first, like the first disc, second disc. Yeah.
So
it's kind of balanced.
So, let me ask you, I mean, we're talking about Kendrick's discography and obviously how legendary it is. If you had to kind of slate where this one would be.
I know that it's, like, early.
I would say it's better than Damn, but not as good as Good Kid, Mad City or To Pimp a Butterfly. But
for me...
Better than Damn, bro?
I think so. I mean, I think... Maybe not right now, but I think it will grow to be better than Damn. I think more people will end up enjoying this album. I feel like it's got more of a conceptual, like, I don't know.
What about you?
I
know it's early.
I'm kind of spitballing.
I'm pretty sure in a year this might change for some of us.
Yeah. It's. I mean, like I said, bro, this is like lower on the tier list for me. It's just. I mean, I think you mentioned Damn. I mean, at least Damn has hits. At least Damn has stuff you can go back and listen to.
If I had to pick the hits off this album, or what I can, it's not a guaranteed hit on this, like how the other albums are. But if I had to pick like the most replay value songs, which ones I prefer to other Kendrick albums, I think this has the best ones, not named Good Kid, Mad City. In my opinion, I prefer like N95, Father Time, the Summer Walker song. Like if I had to pick those three over Humble, DNA, and Loyalty, give me these three over Humble, DNA.
This man's crazy, bro.
Yeah,
that's one of the craziest takes I've ever heard.
See, that's kind of crazy.
I hate Humble so much. I don't like Loyalty.
What about Element?
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
What are you talking about, bro?
But I don't like DNA.
Loyalty?
Don't like Loyalty that much.
Okay, but hold on. So I think another big problem with that is the reason why you might not like those songs is because they were overplayed as fuck on the radio.
Probably.
That's true.
Probably like, especially with DNA.
And that's kind of why I'm choosing this one, because I know a lot of these songs aren't going to go big on the pop radio stations everywhere,
Caviar.
like Rap Caviar. Like these are songs that are going to fall into place as part of an album, and people are going to have to go back and listen to it all. And I think while the tracks might not be better, CB, because I'm with you, bro. I think DNA, Loyalty, all these songs are better than what.
But bro, it's not even just because I don't want to. Y'all don't get me wrong, right? It's not even just. Let me finish. It's not even just the hits. It's the fact that the content is better. He's more socially intelligent on these other albums.
That's fair.
This is the weakest we've seen him from a conscious standpoint, and so I'm already listening. I can't really draw that much from the content. And I'm okay, there's something bumping the whip? No. So people are going to go back and listen to it. Are people really going to go back and listen to a double disc of Mid? For real? Because I don't think so. At least with Damn, I can go back, okay, I'm going along through the track, I'm in the track list, and I'm enjoying some of the tracks that go along. But, because to me, To Pimp a Butterfly doesn't have those, as many just thumping hit songs, but the content is there. It's perfect. And it's one of the best albums of all time.
That's fair.
I mean, I'm a dark horse. I don't like To Pimp a Butterfly that much. It's not for me.
It's not worth debating.
It's not for another episode.
It's not worth debating. I'm not debating it.
It's not for me. I'll put it like that. Like, it's not for me. So the way for me this stands up, it's not as good as Good Kid, Mad City.
It's not.
It's not good.
Absolutely.
No.
For right now, I don't like this more than Damn. But in a year, ask me. Like I hated.
See, that's kind of where I'm at.
I hated Damn the first week it came out. I hated it.
I didn't like it as much as other projects. To me, it's third.
But then Age like songs like God, Pride, I love now. Fear, Lust, like I love it.
Triple X.
Triple X was the only song that I heard. I was like, oh, this goes. Like this goes. So I couldn't tell you. Like I might like Crown. I might like Worldwide Steppers in a year way more than I like it now. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I might hate N95 in a year from now. Like,
come on. You know. I like the beats, man. This is the thing. I like some of these beats. I like some of the cadences. They get me right, but the content is not that. The biggest comparison I can make is 444. I feel like this was Kendrick's 444 done in a way less executed way. And way more concise, way more execute. Like
that might be the best example we've mentioned today.
Yeah,
of like what it is. Oh, I like that.
And he did that. Jay-Z did that better. And shout out to my friend David, bro. If he watches this, he's the one that kind of put me onto a few takes. Like I felt like he went through the motions. I feel like he went through the motions on this album. It's like you in practice and you hooping, but Ben Simmons showing up with sweatpants and a phone in your pocket. It's like we know you got the ability, but dunk the ball, bro.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I do think this is kind of going off the ledge just a little bit. I did mention this earlier.
I mean, I go off the ledge all the time. So go
I kind of felt like
join me.
Kendrick, in a sense, is like I can give you like an aging superstar in basketball. I can give you like if I want to go to the rim and go get a bucket, I can get it. If I want to give you the Heart Part 5, I want to give you Mother I Sober. If I want to give you something, the verse on Family Ties, I can give it to you. I'm one of the best.
That Family Ties verse is that good?
It's not as great as I've heard other things, but it's still pretty good. Yeah. Okay. Relax. But again, but on a full album, he's not living up to his previous work. And I feel like it's slowly like I can't give you as much carries, bro, because your average is kind of dwindling.
That's fair. I mean, it'll be interesting to see where Kendrick goes from here because he took a 5-year break from that. Mm-hmm. We hear that he's starting to get into other stuff, like movies. We heard that he's working with the South Park creators, Matt Stone and Trey Parker, on a new TV show / movie.
Plot sound kind of janky on that.
It kind of does too. But I mean, I'm interested to see where he goes with everything from here. And I don't know. I guess we'll kind of have to let time do do his job, and we'll revisit it in like a year and come back and see how this album has grown on us.
This album probably would have sounded better, I think, from a content point of view. I feel like this would have sounded better for you if it came out last year without COVID.
Maybe even like 2 years ago, I feel like.
I don't know if I wanted to hear this, to be honest. Because, I mean, if he gave... Okay, bro, this is the thing. I think it would have sounded worse. Because in the heat of 2020 and COVID and police brutality and all these things...
And right after the no-name J.Cole...
And the no-name J.Cole, and we're hearing these bars and this lack of just... social awareness at times, I would have been a lot more upset. So, I don't know, man. This is the thing. I will say this for disclaimer. Again, Kendrick Lamar is one of my favorite artists of all time. He has one of the best hip-hop catalogs, period. And I own merch. I dressed up as my man's today. So, it's just, this project is just not hitting for me. That's really all it comes down to.
And that's okay, too.
And that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. You can be a fan of someone and not think, like, what they just put out is perfect.
Mm-hmm. I think Sean C said it. Like I saw his video on it too, and like he did a tweet, and he was like, he was referring to. He's like, this for me would came off way better, less as a musical album, and it more as a book. Like if he came out with the content like this as a book rather than like a music album, I probably would have received this a lot better, and it probably would have went along a lot better, just in general.
And I feel like that would have given Kendrick an opportunity because when you're writing songs, you've got kind of, the format, and you have to, kind of adjust to condense everything. Mm-hmm. If he were to write a book about basically like what you're saying, it would allow him to go into more of these nuances and explain his stance on these things.
I agree.
You were talking about how like we just feel like he hasn't taken a firm stance on anything. Mm-hmm. He kind of has to for this album to really grow into what I think he wanted it to be.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you brought up the point. I think it's a great point. I mean, didn't we see the rollout was the picture of the book?
Yeah.
Right. He's holding But I mean, I'm glad that Kendrick Lamar went to therapy. I'm glad that he's making a mainstream album about going to therapy, especially for Black men. I think that's incredibly important. I just don't think it's the best executed project he's done.
That's all I got. That is a fair critique. Yeah. That is a fair critique.
I think we're good.
Yeah. Brother.
Oh, brother. All right. Well, now I kind of want to stir the pot a little bit more. Let's get into. We've been talking about Kendrick, and obviously we've heard the names Kanye West, Drake, J.Cole come up a lot. Mm-hmm. All of these guys have dropped an album in the last year or two, so let's rank them. Actually, let's just do One's Gotta Go. The Off Season, Certified Lover Boy, Donda, Mr. Morale, and the Big Steppers. Which one, if you had to get rid of one for the rest of your life, which one?
Which four?
Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, The Off Season, Certified Lover Boy, and Donda.
CLB.
CLB is not close.
Yeah, CLB.
See, for me, I would say CLB too, but
stand on your 10 toes like I did in the group chat.
Hey, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it.
Stand on your 10 toes.
For me, I also have to put Donda in that conversation because
I think it's a mid album too.
I if I had to rank those four, I think Donda is closer to. All right, so which y'all's four?
If you had to rank it, I guess go.
I know
that's tough though. I mean,
I'll start with y'all, right? I think this is probably the best one. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. It's either that or Donda for me, are the two best ones. The Off Season, 3 for me because I feel like this content wise, like my biggest critique with J.Cole has always been he needs more braggadocious rap. Mm-hmm. He needs more claim like I'm the best, and he needs to step away from producing and I think focus more on rapping. And I think that's where he excels the most. And I think this was a step in that direction. And the CLB clearly was the last one for me.
For me, I mean, this is the thing. I've in our private conversations, like I've criticized J. Cole quite a bit, because Forest Hills Drive is one of my favorite albums in hip hop. Period, and I just don't feel like he lived up to that in his following works. I feel like the Off Season was a return back to that high quality rapping from him. So I put that one because that's something I will listen to. I own the vinyl.
Yeah,
me too. It was gifted to me. Shout out to my parents.
Hey.
But yeah, I mean, like I'll probably put J. Cole first. I'll put Kendrick second because there's stuff I want to return to on this album. Third, this is the thing. I mean, Donda is just such a bloated project that I just do not care to listen to.
That's my problem with it.
I do feel like Drake has some tracks on CLB that I'll return to, especially the ones where he's going at Ye. So I'll probably put that one third and Donda fourth. So it's just not for me. Donda.
I mean, I'm with you in agreement. Because the thing is, this is the way I explained it in our group chat when we were talking about it, is I think Donda has higher highs than Certified Lover Boy, but that's about it. Like besides Moon, besides Jail, besides Off the Grid, that was kind of where Donda ended for me. I'll return to those songs, but like you said, it's just so bloated. I don't go back and re-listen to that album all the time. With Certified Lover Boy, there were more songs that I enjoyed, and they might not be as good as anything that was on Donda, but there's just stuff that I can play in the car. I can play with people I'm around, and they'll kind of vibe with it. So if I had to rank them, I'll go The Off Season, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. From a quality standpoint, Donda's better than Certified Lover Boy. Mm-hmm. And I'll say Certified Lover Boy is the worst. But I'll say if I had to let one go, I'll say Donda.
My whole thing is like, with a lot of it has to do with moments too. Like Gage spoke a little bit about it. CLB just didn't have any moments. The Off Season lacked moments for me. Like
the Off Season,
yeah. Like it didn't. Like as moments. Like yeah, we had the end. We had 95 South, but like, and we had the Baby verse
and the 21 Savage verse too on My Life.
And how, but like, there's a lot of forgettable songs on the Off Season that are good quality songs, but there's a lot of forgettable songs. If you want to say Donda has forgettable songs, I'm so with you. I think that Pop Smoke song, he could have been left that as a reference track. Like he could have been left the Yachty song. He could have been left. I think the Dirk song is great. He could have left. Like I'm with you. It's bloated, but I just think like, I guess more for me is like I take into consideration like I guess rollouts, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And I think if you think of Donda, the stadiums, the tours, everything like that. That just elevated it for me, and especially because like when it came out, nothing sounded like it.
No.
And I mentioned in the group chat too. I mean, Kanye, as much as we might not like Donda or because of how bloated it is, but Kanye is changing the way that we consume music because he made to listen to Donda 2, he made people buy a stem player, a $200 MP3 player, which I own, by the way.
Oh my god, he fleeced you, bro.
And to be fair though, that Donda stem player is so fucking.
I have it right now, dude.
It's so cool. After
I'll camera. I'm
I'll camera.
And you're gonna play it. You're
I'm gonna confirm. Yeah. But, okay, I will say this though. I might flip flop. I did say I did get rid of CLB, but I put CLB ahead of Donda just because I feel like it's a more listenable project. That's why I ranked it there. But honestly, bro, they just. I mean, I do think Donda has more high quality production, so I think I'll do a little switch. I'll put Donda back to 3 and I'll put CLB at 4.
Okay.
So
yeah,
you convinced me, man.
Hey, way to go, man. We got our resume.
Actually, y'all both convinced me, to be honest.
I get what y'all mean about like CLB and the replay value. I get it. My whole thing was like with songs like way too sexy. I have to own up to my mistake.
CB hated that song.
I was here on this podcast saying this song wouldn't last 2 weeks on the radio, and I was so goddamn wrong. It lasted like 3 months.
I told you it was gonna last forever.
That's my whole thing with CLB. It's just I wish he would have leaned into the more like I'm a lover boy type of acid. Yes. I wish.
Where's the R&B? Pipe Down is incredible.
Pipe Down. My issue with Pipe Down.
The one with Ty Dolla $ign too, bro.
Better. What was it? What was it? But I
Get Along Better.
Get Along Better. I told you the day the album came out, I said Get Along Better. If he had 3 more of those, then you guys, then I probably would pick CLB. My issue was songs like No Friends in the Industry, bro. He has 7 of those songs.
Energy sounds just like it.
Free Smoke. Mm-hmm. He has so many of those songs.
And then when you see everything after the Kanye beef, kind of they squashed it. That song ages bad. Like
Bridal, what is it? 7 p.m. on Bridal. It ages bad, dog.
Mm-hmm.
What is this song? The Dirk and Gideon song is amazing.
Yeah, I like that one too.
That song is trash.
I felt the Baby song.
That song is terrible. What are you talking about?
Okay. So
is it the girls?
No.
That's
in
Baby.
the Bible.
That's Baby.
That song's terrible too.
Girls in the Bible.
In the Bible, both of those tracks are terrible.
Okay, so I didn't like In the Bible as much as any of the other songs, but you know how much I love Giveon. So I really like that Giveon outro for that song. It was really nice. That's probably one of the only reasons I revisit that song.
Like with Pipe Down and what is it? Poppy's Home and the Champagne.
Poppy's Home's terrible too.
Poppy's Home is terrible. I've told you and Jason this so many times.
I like that song.
It's a
my whole thing with Pipe
pleasure,
Down and Champagne Poetry, you feel like the potential of a classic Drake song, a classic, and I feel like, bro, Gibbs had a better verse on his remix than Drake did on Champagne.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And Kendrick ducked the smoke. Yes. But go ahead, continue.
J.Cole had a better verse on what's it called?
On
Pipe Down.
Cole and Drake are super. Or what does he say? Kendrick and Drake are superstars to me.
Yeah.
I don't know about all that.
I think Cole had a way better verse than that. That's my whole issue. Plus, I'm like I talked about this on our review. It's like I'm tired of hearing Drake and Future, dog. On the Drake album, not on a Future album, on a Drake album.
He didn't sound good on the Future album either.
You're tripping.
He was going through the motions on that.
Way too better. He was sounding nuts.
I don't know about that.
What was it? I'm Only One, right? I thought he killed that verse.
I gotta re-listen to it, but I was not. I mean, my thing with the Baby track and the Dirk track was like, why not put Wants and Needs and Laugh Now, Cry Later in place of those tracks? Because they're far superior tracks.
That's fair.
And that's why for me, like, I'm not even listening to CLB like y'all listen to CLB. I'll be making playlists. I'll put those songs on there. I got rid of the things I don't like a trail mix. And I listen to it like that. I'm like, okay. It sounds. I forget that it sounds the way.
See, that's my critique with Donda. Or not with Donda, but CLB is like we're telling like one of our buddies. He's like, well, if you listen to more songs on CLB, how are you saying that's even like? How are you not saying that's better than Donda? And my critique is like, bro. Yes, they might sound better like in a playlist among other songs, but when you put it as like the 17, 18 tracks that it is, you're like, damn. You start to think like. He really like that's how people see he
phoned it in.
It's not a good album. Not get me wrong. This is one of the worst albums he's ever put out. This is a terrible album.
Bottom 3 for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's something,
But I don't feel like that way with Donda in off season, and you might feel like this with Mr. Morale, but I don't feel like with Donda the off season. Offseason is my favorite J. Cole project. It's not as good as
2014.
But I like this more. Donda is his best album since.
Careful where you go with this.
It depends how you feel. It depends how you feel about Pablo. Because Kanye's
I like Pablo.
I love
I like Pablo too.
Then his best album since Pablo.
I don't think it's saying anything though. That's the thing. Like Kanye's been so off his game. Like what is that even saying?
And the thing is, like, I think you could definitely say that if it was more condensed and all those songs that stood out were.
If it's more condensed than we talk, it's a different discussion in my opinion. He might have a case of that top 3, top 4.
Yeah.
If Kanye had Donda as a 16-track album, Come to Life. My whole thing with like Kanye is he has with these high level of rappers. If their new album comes out and you don't have at least 2 or 3 songs that have a case to be in their top 10, top 15, then you just wasted my time.
Let me put a disclaimer out there as well. I don't even be listening to Kanye no more, bro. I don't want to hear about the antics. I don't want to listen to none of these projects post Pablo. I don't listen to none of this. None of it. I'm good. I am good. This is like I know this is your man, bro.
I'm a Kanye
this man been talking about him the whole time.
I'm a Kanye stan.
But I'm good, bro. The Denzel Curry album, the Pusha T album. That's bumping in my whip right now. That is on my playlist right now. That's what I'm listening to. I'm not listening to this new, he was once a... I'm good, bro. I'm good on all of it.
So would you feel... So then, like, now that we've kind of, like, this might be the last go-around we get with those 4 rappers where they all...
Yeah.
Would you say you're disappointed in all their last efforts? Hey, that's what it's got.
I guess so.
Oh, man.
I guess so.
Because I know Cole probably has one.
I think Cole's still going.
But Cole says he has the mixtape. What was it? It's a Boy Left, and then he has the Fall Off. Is going to be the last one. Mm-hmm. Kanye, we don't know what.
Who knows? What
I don't care to hear what comes next. I don't.
Drake.
I don't care to hear what comes next with Drake.
I think Kendrick probably has one more after this, and he's done. He might be done after this one. My whole thing with PG Lane, I think he'll have an album on PG Lane, but like I said, this is the last on TDE. Like,
I don't think this is his like finale though. I think like he'll release another album, but it might not be anytime soon. He might take another break and focus on making PG Lane what he wants it to become before he says, all right, let me.
That is the good question though. What do y'all expect from Kendrick in the future? Because the level of stuff he's talking about, the deepness on this album to him internally, right? It doesn't feel like he's coming back anytime soon. But at the same time, it's like if he did move on, if he did come to a more peaceful place in his heart with all the things going on, and he's got the PG Lane going, will he be more?
Why would he
disappear again? You know what I mean?
Well, because we kind of saw the thing with J.Cole too. Because I mean, J.Cole was kind of like, I don't want to be on features. I don't want to be like. You have to be that kind of guy to get me featured on a song too. And then something switched with him and he was like, nah, now we're going to start doing the Dreamville mixtapes and I'm going to really start focusing.
And the new one's incredible.
By the way,
the new one's great.
Very good. You guys should
great
go check album. But I mean, we could see that kind of metamorphosis from Kendrick of like helping and kind of staying more in the public eye. Maybe not in the same way that like a Drake would, but more of like a J.Cole, like kind of behind the scenes, helping his label and helping his artists grow, and then kind of doing his own things on the side.
I want to see that. I want to see him. I want to see Kendrick because I think Kendrick is a good gatekeeper for the future.
Yeah.
I would love to see him just fostering the new generation.
I kind of see him going in more like as far as like being not an executive, but I'm gonna say executive because I can't find a better word right now. I think he's gonna go into the Drake executive model of TV shows and entertainment.
Yeah.
But more
Top
TV shows
Euphoria.
Top Boy, Euphoria. Even though Drake did have OVO and OVO is what it is.
OVO's a joke. But
now it's
watch Top Boy. Top Boy's incredible. Top Boy is incredible.
It's way better than Power. I've been telling y'all for so long Power's so goddamn trash. But it's
Wait, you had to bring up Power, bro. Now Jason's gonna
Kanye, get your bingo cards ready.
Honestly, we should, bro. Just like every time he mentions Travis, exit out. Every time he's
Drake, Kanye,
every time he mentions Power, all that you're gonna hit bingo. Every Luca, you're gonna.
Oh, love it. There you go. That's another X.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I just feel like he's gonna go in that like entertainment lane more so than the music lane.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like. I mean, but
because he's gonna have PG Lane. Because PG Lane, what is it? Tana Leone, Keem, Georgia Smith, Brent Fires, which is solid starting four to start out with.
Oh, I know how you feel about Brent, though, right? You're not super high on Brent.
Man, why you gotta put that on wax? Why you gotta expose
I know,
me
but
like
the
this?
thing is, me and Ether are big Brent
this is my
Fires.
take on Brent Fires. Brent Fires is just inconsistent for me.
That's fair.
There's just tracks. I'm just like he'll go from like you see money all around me, one of the best records of the last decade, easily, and other different
Kodak's
records I
on
like.
there too, by the way.
Kodak's not on that record.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not.
Maybe on one of the
maybe
remixes.
on a remix, but it's like Sly Glizzy or whatever.
Shy Glizzy and Gold Link and Brent Fires. I think that's it.
Kodak's gotta be on there. I might be tripping.
But anyway, that's an incredible track.
Yes.
I think Brent Fires has a lot of talent, man. I really do like some of his tracks, but there's some stuff that's just like I'm taking some NyQuil. Oh, the record he did with Drake. Y'all remember that
Wasting Time.
That one is incredible.
Oh, okay. I thought you were about to say.
I know.
I thought you were about to say.
No, I love that record. That record's amazing.
Bro,
yeah, it was the Neptunes record.
Yes.
Incredible record.
I was like,
nailed it.
I love that record. I need to go back and listen to it.
You have to break my heart for a second.
No, it's incredible. How would I hate
love
that?
that record.
It's incredible. But
hey,
they both body. I think Brent Fires low key kind of washed Drake a little bit. But
no, I think that was one of Drake's verses.
No, man, I don't know. I'm kind of with CB here, bro. I think Brent sliding
I think Brent went hard. I think Brent went crazy on that record, bro.
Hey,
and Drake did well. I just think that Brent Fires kind of outshined him a little bit.
He killed the Tyler record on his Tyler album. Yeah. He killed Gravity. I know a lot of people, it was mixed feelings with Gravity.
That's a great song.
But
yeah, I mean, we're looking pretty good on time. I feel like we covered a lot already, but
music just in general.
Yeah, and just music, but CB, first off, we want to thank you again for coming on the show, man. We really appreciate y'all.
Long time coming, man.
And now we got music out the way, I think.
Well, I think we should kind of...
Should we talk about Freddie Gibbs getting beat up again?
Hey, shout out to DJ Drama, though, because, he's on a hot streak. We mentioned the J.Cole Dreamville stuff. He did the Tyler album. Just wanted to give him a shout out.
Yeah, DJ Drama.
I feel like the Jack Harlow stuff was a miss, but that's just me.
Yeah, I think so.
That's a miss.
That was his biggest miss.
But, CB... For our friends of the show who are watching every week, we like to do a segment with our interviewees called PSA. Mm-hmm. And this is your time to get anything off your chest. It could be a sports take, a music take. It could be a take on life. It could be a take on society. Whatever you want. Just tell our viewers and let them know. We've had people say, Ethan said one time that he wants to get rid of airports. We had Brock Sturgis here saying that peace and love is kind of just like a basic message, but... Yeah. Whatever you want, man. It could be...
I mean, it's tough because I gave a lot of shout-outs throughout the production here, but drink more water. Drink a lot of water every day. I voted like 2 days ago, so make sure y'all utilize y'all's vote. Get registered. There's a lot of important elections coming up. A lot of craziness in the world. I know voting is not the only way to be conscious and be political and use your voice, but it is one of those fundamental rights that you do have. So always, in my opinion, I always try to utilize it as a tool. It's not, you're not picking your favorite person. You're picking whatever most agrees with your opinions and what's best for community and people. So yeah, I mean, and hopefully y'all center y'all's feelings and things on the everyday person because we're seeing lots of crazy stuff with inflation. Rest in peace to those who lost their lives and some of the tragedies that we've seen.
Yeah. You hear that, Joe Biden? Nah, just fine.
Joe. Yeah, man.
I do think that was. I blame everything on Joe Biden. It's so much. Like I never understood why people used to do that. Like I guess because we were younger, they used to blame random stuff on Obama or random stuff on Trump. I get it now. It's so much fun to blame random stuff on random people.
Like it has nothing to do with him. Like, bro, this new Jack Harlow album was shit. Thanks a lot, Joe Biden. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Oh my God. But I mean, regardless of where you lay politically or consciously, whatever, again, hopefully you center people in the things that you care about and all those things. But just make your voice heard. Be involved. Hug your mom. Hug your dad too if you. And yeah, man, be better communicators. Try to meditate. Try to
meditate. Go outside.
Go outside. Get out the house if you can. Get out the crib if you can. Go outside. Go experience nature. See a therapist if you can. Get counseling. I mean, we were talking about this album. Work through some of your demons. Work through some of the things that you're going through life. And yeah, shout out to all Black people.
All right, guys. Well, thank y'all for watching. It's been the young Rottweiler Ethan Hamilton and Gage Sutton 007. Thank y'all for watching, and we will see y'all next week.
It's blooming. Hey, is this thing on?